Alrighty, CNT140, we are now working on the backbone link or the fiber link between our two data closets. So far, actually the last couple things we did was we added our cable support cable trays, the closet equipment, and then we added the certification costs to our spreadsheet. So this week we're going to look at one of the last pieces of equipment we need for the plan, the fiber link between our two closets. Now, in some scenarios you might be able to get by with a copper link between the two. Ours is kind of like that borderline distance if it might work, but we're going to follow the best practice of using a fiber link between the two closets. So to do that, we will need a fiber link, and then we're going to get some what's called interduct. That'll be a protection for that fiber link. We'll install that above the ceiling, up through pathways and so forth, and then that'll allow us to pull the fiber link through with minimal tension on it to protect the fiber link. And actually that is there for protection for the fiber link after it's installed. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to update our packet tracer file. We're going to put some switches in our closet. I know we're not including them in the cost sheet, but we're doing it for the connectivity of our plan. And that'll allow us to literally plug the fiber link between the two switches, and that'll give us a distance estimate. So I'm going to jump into my packet tracer file, and I'll pick my 113 closet first. While I'm in here, let me zoom in a little bit. I'm going to plug a switch into the rack. And in the directions, I believe I tell you we're using the 3650 24 port. This guy right here. This will allow us to add in a fiber module right here is what that'll allow us to do. So once I plug that in the rack, I'm going to open up the switch. I'm going to click on it. I need to drag power supplies into it to make it basically function, if you will. So I will do that. And then I'm going to drag a fiber module. That's this guy right here. If I click on it, you'll see it is a LC fiber module. I'm going to drag that in here and drop it into the switch. So I now have a port to plug into. And I will quick label this switch. I will label this, Hall Tech 113 switch or something like that. That way I know what it is. I'm going to back out and I'm going to go to the other closet and do the exact same thing. I'm going to drop another switch in here. I will click on the switch. That'll allow me to drag the power supplies in to make it active. And then I will drag a fiber module over here. Okay. Once I do that, I will come out here. And again, I'll label this Hall Tech. This is 124A switch, something of that nature. All right. Now I'm going to save that change because that'll start making these names active for me. I'm going to back out one more time, and I'm actually going to connect the two closets together now with a fiber link. So I'll go to my connections, click fiber. I'm going to click on this closet, and I'm going to look for in the rack the switch, Hall Tech 124A switch, and I'm going to plug into the gig port down here, the fiber gig port. I'm going to drag it to the other closet, click on it, and go to this switch, and again the gig port here. And now my two closets are connected with a fiber link. Well, I'm going to quick route this thing so I can have this help me with my distance. So I will right click on it and do the whole create a bend point. I'm going to drag that up here, hopefully. There we go. I'll create another bend point. And I'm going to drag that down here. So it's almost like we're routing it through the hallway, down the trays and all through the hallway. Come on, you can do it. I guess we'll zoom in a little bit more. And then we're going to assume we can find a space above the lobby with that interduct and create a bend point here. So I'm routing it into this closet. Now that I have it routed, I'll zoom out a little bit. You'll see it's literally going down the hallway here and over to here. If I highlight or hover over that link, I can now see it's about 58 about 58, 59 meters for my link between my closets, the fiber link between my closets. That'll now give me a real distance that I can use for my plan. So I will save this. Actually, if I go in my closets, I'll actually see that fiber link plugged into the switch. Now, in real life, with our plan, we would need a 48 port switch to connect this closet to the other one. Packet Tracer does not have one, but I could put a 48 port here and do exactly what we're doing right now, and accomplish what we're trying to do, connect these two closets together. All right, so I have that. I have that information, like a 58 meter link, if you will. I'll save that. In my plans now, I'm making a note that I need about a 58 meter link between my closets, if you will. I think when I did before, I had like I rounded to 59. There we go, 59. So we need a 59 meter link. So on my spreadsheet, up here in Backbone, I'm going to put a link, a fiber optic link between closets. I have a really different distance number there for some reason. I'm going to quick update that. 59 meter link, if you will. Okay. And what I'm going to do, go back to my notes page here again real quick. And that actually that matches what I have here, 59. I'll need to do the add 40% to that. So I take the 59 times 140% or times 1.4, and I get about 78 meter link. Now that I have that distance, and actually I think that's what I had plugged in the spreadsheet, 78 meter link. 78 meter link. I think it was 78.4, something like that, meter link. Now I have that distance that I need for my plan. In other words, 257 feet. I converted that here, multiplied by 3.281 will give you feet. So 257 feet is what I need, which actually is what I had over here on the spreadsheet. I think Mr. Brown was editing before he should have been editing. Anyway, so now I know that I need a fiber link of that distance between the closets. Excellent. I now have my information I need to start looking up our equipment. So first thing we're going to look up is that raceway, and then we will look up the fiber link between the closets. So that interduct, if I actually go to Cable Organizer, and I will open this link here, I'll let that load. If I go to Cable Organizer, I can look for plenum. They call it convoluted tubing. That'll give me a tube that I can install above the ceiling. Once it's up there with J-hooks or whatever, I can then pull the fiber link between, because we're not actually going to install cable trays through the lobby. We didn't need to. So we're going to use this as the support for the fiber link through. So if I search here for, I'll actually search for plenum. And when I do, there's plenum convoluted tubing pops right up. So I will click on that. And this gives me a couple options of size. And I think I picked like 1.5 inches or something like that, somewhere in that ballpark. Maybe I picked 2 inches. I did actually pick 2 inches. Interduct plenum convoluted tubing, 2 inches by 250 feet, which will accommodate the 257 we need easily, because we mainly need it through the hallway above the lobby and over to the other closet. Once we get near the closet, it's going to be supported by the equipment racks and so forth. So that right there would get the job done. I actually picked this one right here. So now I have a model number. I have a price for my interduct, my raceway, if you will, for the fiber. So I will put that in there, model number, price, etc. Okay. The other thing we need is the actual fiber link. So scrolling down here, I would have two options. I would have two options here. One is if I were actually installing a number of fiber links, I could actually buy bulk fiber and connectors, install the fiber and terminate the connections on each end if I were doing a bunch of terminations or a bunch of fiber links, but I'm not. I'm really only connecting those two closets. So the better way to go is if I actually buy a pre-terminated fiber cable. So I can go to a place like this right here, Stonewall Cable, and they can actually make a cable to length for me, and when it's delivered, I literally can just pull it through the raceway and plug it into the two switches, just like we have in Packet Tracer. So right here, I've picked out the 5125 multi-mode fiber 10 gig laser optimized. That's basically what we'd be using between the closets right now. The only thing I need to do is pick some pick some options, if you will. If I do a 2-strand, that would give me a single fiber connection between the closets. Remember, I have 2 strands, one send, one receive. So that right there would give me one fiber link between the closets. We might want to consider installing a 4-strand. That would give me 2 fiber links so I could have some redundancy or some expandability. that would be at least a good starting point. Some places might say, we're going to install 8. So then we have a redundant connection now, and if we need a second connection, it's already there, ready to go. We're at least going to do the 4, so it gives us a main and a backup, and the raceway is giving us room that we could pull another one through very easily. So I'm going to click the 4 strand, and I do need to plug a couple settings in. I'm going to pick down here plenum. I'm going to use LC fiber in both, LC connector in both ends. That is a very common connection that gets used right now. We are going to do a pull eye at least on one end of the connector. That'll allow us to tie the pull rope in the raceway onto it and pull it through the raceway very easily. The pull eye looks like this. It's actually like a little sleeve that protects the connectors, and there's a little loop in the end that I could tie the rope to that comes in the raceway. This actually comes with a pull rope in it. And I can tie that rope right onto and pull it right through my raceway very easily. And then all I need to do down here is plug in the distance. We said 257 feet, I think, is what we needed. Once I do that, this gives me a model number over here and a price. So for $380, I'm going to have a cable delivered that I can literally get out of the box, tie onto the rope in my raceway, and pull it through the raceway and plug it into my 2 switches and done. I literally have a link up and running that quickly. This is the way we want to go. So I'll take that information, add that to my spreadsheet. Right here was all that I added. The multi-mode fiber 10 gig 4 strand. There's the model, there's the price, and so forth. So that would allow me to add the fiber link to my plan. So that should be the last piece we need right there. And this is actually a picture of my spreadsheet in case any of those model numbers help you out. So there is the fiber link or backbone link for our bid spec.